Brownie, what do you think? Impartial third-party observer who likely hates both of these teams. How do you see the Sunflower Showdown going down?
So, I mean, you're not wrong. I do hate both teams, but I hate Kansas mostly in basketball and Kansas State just in
That's fair.
general. Uh, so I was kind of like torn in between this game, especially when I was going through the stats. I mean, stats don't always tell the tale, as we know from looking up the top 25 breakdown from ESPN, where they give all SEC teams a full-blown 20-page thesis on why they deserve their rankings. And then Big 12 is like, oh, hey, they won their game. Congratulations. I personally think it's really going to come down to which defense can stop the mobile quarterback better. I think it's going to rely a lot on their linebacker play. And I think Kansas, you guys are still running the 3-3-5 stack, right?
I think
or
so.
did you
Yeah.
guys? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have the same defensive coordinator.
Yeah, so I think they still have the 3-3-5 stack, and then I think Kansas plays a version of a 4-2 and sometimes a 3-3-5. It's really going to be down to those 6 players, I think, that are going to be in the box. I think that both quarterbacks can be really good at throwing, but I have also seen them make absolutely ridiculous decisions that they should not have in the pocket. Avery Johnson did, I would say, look a lot better last week in their game, especially now that he threw, I think, 200 some yards last weekend. It was the most that he's ever passed for, I think, this season so far. But for me, it's just going to be defense, defense, defense. Whoever gets that one stop, that one crucial stop, whether it be going into the second half or towards the end of the game, is going to determine the winner. 10-point favorites, for me personally, in any rivalry game, I think is ridiculous. Because just being an Iowa State person, we always try to play Iowa the hardest. And I think it's going to be the same way in this game. I do actually have Jayhawks coming ahead by 2 points in triple overtime.
Okay.
Whoa.
We'll see if college football agrees with you there.
24-26, triple OT.
Wow. I mean, I think you make a really
I'm
good
here
point
for the chaos.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the year for it. Let's be real. This is the year for it. I mean, I think you make a really great point about like the team that gets that one defensive stop. It's going to come down to linebacker play. I think that's really great analysis. And your gut kind of says, if you're trusting one team to make that play on defense, your gut kind of says Kansas State. But this year has been so wild. I mean, there is a lot moving in Kansas State's favor for this game, right? It's a home game at night, the streak, all of that stuff. They're ranked. Their season's going pretty well. Kansas has been really disappointing. But it's almost like for all of those reasons, with the way things have gone this year, why it almost feels like, well, then Kansas is definitely going to win, right? Because they have no business. It's just like Houston a couple weeks ago, no business at home, and it was awful. It was the worst. That was maybe the worst TCU game I've ever seen. I'm just being completely honest. But yeah. So I'm gonna reserve judgment on my pick until the end of the simulation, until the end of the show. Then we'll put on the hat of how we feel this is going to go down. But we will check back in on this. Let's move on ahead let's talk about BYU. Why don't we? Let's talk about BYU. BYU going to UCF. Very, very interested in this game. The Cougs surviving last week, as you said, Brownie, against the Oklahoma State Cowboys at home. Now they go down to the bounce house. Very tough place to win. UCF, even as disappointing as they've been all year, you never know what's going to happen when UCF's playing in Orlando, and especially BYU has to travel so stinking far. I think that's why UCF is the 1.5-point favorite here. But I kind of feel like BYU's talent and discipline takes the day. What do you two think about it?
Last weekend, if this game would have happened last weekend, I would have had BYU by like 14, without a question. UCF was in a down trajectory. BYU was exceeding all expectations. And then Friday night's game and Saturday night's game has completely flipped the script for me. We learned Iowa State doesn't have a rush defense, which is extremely concerning, having both Kansas and Kansas State left on the schedule, especially with mobile quarterbacks. Brown, their quarterback, actually had a lot of rushing yards against us. Him and Harvey both, I think, combined for almost 350 yards on the ground, which is absolutely insane.
They did that to us too. If it makes you feel any better,
just slightly. As for BYU, if Retzlev is still 100% healthy, I know that it was kind of questionable the way that he was playing kind of in the second half after taking that shot at halftime. If he's 100%, I think that BYU pulls it out, and I think it's going to be another close game. But if BYU did not watch tape at all season with RJ Harvey in the background, oh, there goes my camera. With Harvey in the background and then Brown now at quarterback, they really only have 1 week of film, a week and a half of film on him. If Retzlev isn't playing very well, UCF could pull an upset. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, oddly enough. But I mean, UCF has a chance for sure. And Clint, you mentioned the distance, going from all the way from Utah all the way down to Orlando, Florida. It's a very long, traveling trip for them. So but UCF, they've got the players, and I think they've got the skills that they need to beat this team. But and you guys kind of talked about it a little bit too. The Big 12 has just been so weird this year. And it's like at this point, it's kind of almost turned into, Big 12 basketball where it's like you don't know really who's going to win. And there's no definites, there's no absolutes. But I like BYU in this game. I think they're a very physical football team. And, there's a reason why they're the best team in the Big 12 right now. And, they blew out Kansas State. Now, I know some people out there are probably going to say, well, that game was kind of a fluke because you had that punt return and all these different things. But I like BYU in this game. I think they're a little bit more physical than UCF, and they're very well disciplined as well, kind of like you mentioned there. But give me the Cougars.
Okay. So, yeah, I agree with you. I see. I mean, this is a classic trap game. It's definitely worrisome, but I see BYU coming away with this. I think that they're playing at too high a level right now. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Let's check in on what Kansas and Kansas State are up to at the moment. Okay, K-State just scored a touchdown. So, not ideal. Not ideal for pulling the upset. We'll check it on again later. Another rivalry happening in the Big 12 this week, the battle for the saddle, the West Texas Championship, ladies and gentlemen. Texas Tech coming to TCU, the site which once in 2014, the Horned Frogs ran out of fireworks because we scored so many points on them. How embarrassing. Okay, so that's not going to happen this year. I'll tell you that. I'm surprised that the Frogs are favored. I do think we have a chance to win this game, especially if our defense plays at the level that it did this past week. Encourage me, gentlemen. Help me feel good going into Saturday. Or don't. Whatever you feel.
Well, I brought it up earlier, but Texas Tech gave up 51 points to Abilene Christian at home. And I know it was a season opener, but I mean, this defense has given up so many points this year. And then they've got an offense, they've got playmakers on the outside. You got a quarterback that's going to throw the ball all around the field. So I really like that matchup for the Horned Frogs. I think that they have a possibility to have a field day against the Red Raiders.
A field day. Oh, goodness.
Maybe. I'm not saying 82-27, but maybe 30, 40 points.
I would gladly take 30, 40 points. I would gladly take that.
Yeah, I mean,
Brandy, what do you think?
Yeah.
41-38, baby. TCU is coming out with that wild frog formation again. And, I mean, I don't know. I might have to ask the announcers who's going to get the ball snapped to them in the backfield. But once we figure that out, we should be good to go. Honestly, I think the only thing that's going to prevent TCU is stopping Brooks. Yeah, I really think that's going to be the leading factor on whether or not you guys have a good game. I'm not fully sold on Texas Tech's passing game. Their passing protection seems to be hit or miss, and there was a lot of very questionable coaching calls in a lot of their tight games. I think that they lucked out in the Cincinnati game. I know that we talked about that before. I think they lucked out there. I think they lucked out against AC. I put them on fraud alert last week, and I'm putting them on fraud alert again. I think they're just going to plummet. I really don't think this team is going to go bowling.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Hey,
Shots fired. I mean, I do agree
is that what
Taj Brooks is a problem. Taj Brooks is a problem for us just with our track record.
Wreck 'em, that's what it
he
is.
very well
Wreck 'em.
could have a field day against us. But I thought Utah would run for 200 yards against us, and they didn't. So, it has the defense turned a corner. That's the real question. This is a put up or shut up moment for the defense. You could make the argument that the reason we were able to do so much better against the run against Utah is because we weren't as worried about that quarterback, right? And Baron Morton presents a much more. I mean, I know you say their pass protection isn't that great, but he's a much better quarterback than Utah's freshman. Let's be honest. So yeah, I do see if we're going to win this game, I think we win in a shootout. I think you're right, Brownie. I think 41-38, something like that, is how you have to win it. You're going to have a great day from Josh Hoover. He's going to have to be back into form that he was early in the season, finding Jack Besh, finding Savion Williams. And hopefully supplementing the rushing attack with Savion Williams a little bit. What I'm dying for, and what so many TCU fans are dying for, is give us more Jeremy Payne, give us more Trent Battle. We've had several running backs be effective behind this line that's struggling a little bit. And Cam Cook, he seems like a good kid, but he's just not getting it done on early downs. So maybe we give Trent Battle and Jeremy Payne some more run, and maybe they're able to do something with it. All right. Making sure I'm not missing anything in here. Okay. Our last 2:30 game, Oklahoma State at Baylor. The Bears are 7-point favorites against OK State. Baylor looked really great last week, right? These were two teams that were on a collision course with purgatory, it looked like, until last week. And now Baylor finally got themselves figured out. Is it all Bears for y'all?
Sick 'em Bears.
Hey, don't say that.
Let's
not get crazy here.
No, I really do see Baylor winning this one. I mean, if Rangel gets healthy, I think that it might be a lot closer than what I originally predicted for them. Ollie Gordon was also banged up. I also was seeing rumor mill on Twitter, which we all know how that goes, that Ollie Gordon might be out for this week. And if that's the case, if they're out Rangel and Ollie Gordon, they're going to have to go off of Bowman again. And that's not exactly what you want to hear as an Okie State fan. So I have Baylor 35-13. I really do think that they turned a corner last weekend, and I see nothing but blue skies ahead.
A little update for you.
Yeah, I've got Baylor
on the long touchdown.
I've got Baylor winning in this game too. Of course, you mentioned it, Rangel and Ollie Gordon. We're gonna have to, wait and see in here if they're gonna play or not. But if Bowman's going out there and playing, I don't like Oklahoma State's chances, unfortunately. So I really liked how Baylor played last week. It's a home game too, so I don't think Oklahoma State has had much success in Waco either in recent years. So I like the Bears.
Yeah. Going up like a Branch Davidian compound down there. Oklahoma State, they got some quarterback problems, man. That quarterback situation is abysmal. Yeah. Give me the Bears. Give me the Bears on an afternoon game when apparently they're attempting to stripe the stadium. We'll see how it goes for them.
Have you seen the picture of the striping?
Yes. I need to find it, actually.
I need to see this.
Pretty sure I have it somewhere. I'm pretty sure I retweeted it.
I think Drake Tolley hold on, let me find it. Drake Toll.
It was really, really bad.
Okay,
I need to see this. I haven't seen this.
Here we go. I've got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just share this screen. We'll stop sharing the game here for a second. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty fantastic. Really sensible pattern. It's really easy to figure out where what you're supposed to be wearing, depending on where you're sitting. Not at all.
What in the world is that? I don't like that at all. Why?
Maybe they're thinking like, hey, we know nobody's going to pay any attention to this anyway. So like, maybe if we just make the stripes very bizarre shapes, then we can say it was a success. I don't know.
Well, it's weird.
So inconsistent.
It goes 2, like in the upper bowl, it goes 2, then 3, 2, then 3, 2, then 3, all the way around. But then the lower section is all yellow, and then the midsection is green. Like when I was looking at this, I was like, oh my gosh.
In Baylor's defense, I can't believe I'm saying something in Baylor's defense. In Baylor's defense, that long yellow section there by the field, I believe that's the Baylor line. I believe that's the student section. They all get yellow shirts anyway. So that's probably why they're keeping that yellow. But it looks super awkward with the completely green berm there in the end zone. What are we doing, people? What are we doing? But anyway, hopefully all the fans that attend
Baylor engineering at its finest, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. All right, moving right along. West Virginia travels to Arizona for a night game. I saw this one in my pickup meal. I was like, I don't know what. What do y'all make of this game? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna want it less?
I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. It all kind of depends on which Fafita that we see. Do we see Pac-12 Fafita for Arizona, where he's slinging it around, throwing for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions? Or are we seeing like the new and improved Fafita of the Big 12, where he's throwing for 185 with 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions? Like, it all kind of depends on who shows up for that one, because if Fafita can offensively make Arizona go, and Arizona goes up by 2, it's going to put West Virginia in that kind of slow vice grip that Kansas State and Iowa State put on West Virginia as well, where, Garrett Green is going to have to start to pass, and he is not extremely proficient at passing. If you force them to get out of the run game, the RPOs, and you force Garrett Green to stay in the pocket with a spy or 2, he's going to have problems. I really think that this one's going to be a lot higher in scoring than people think. I actually had it at 56-35 Arizona.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. And I was actually seeing it with 2 pick sixes. So I think it's going to really come down to quarterback play in order to make it happen. But I again, wild, outrageous take here. I really think Arizona is going to put the smackdown on West Virginia, and that's going to be the nail in good old Brown's coffin.
Yeah, I didn't like how West Virginia played against Kansas State, and then now they're going to go on the road and play a physical Arizona football team. Ooh, touchdown! Who scored that touchdown?
Tutty.
Scoop and score.
I can't.
Scoop and score.
14. Oh, that must be Jalen. I don't know. Ooh, we're winning. All right, sweet. Going back to the West Virginia game. Yeah, they that was easily their worst performance of the season. West Virginia, they just look lost out there, and Kansas State's got a physical defense, and they let them get to the best of them. Obviously, Arizona, has a chance, here at home to get a big time Big 12 win. And I like the matchup for the Wildcats. You pointed it out, like in Fafita, throw it around, get the ball to McMillan, the star wide receiver, who I believe is going to be one of the first players selected in the NFL draft next year. I like the Wildcats in this one. Give me Arizona. I'd say 38-20. 38-20, Arizona.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that Kansas State.
Hope your mic went away again.
Was troubling. It was troubling. Losing the Riot Bowl and then turning around and losing to Kansas State, it really feels like the Mountaineers are heading in the wrong direction. And I had such high hopes for West Virginia this year, But yeah, them traveling, and I will say this, it's a lot harder to travel west than it is to travel east as a as I said, former Mountain West acolyte here. And West Virginia making that trek all the way. I mean, what the hell is Arizona on California time now? Who knows, right? Maybe they are. That's not a great situation for West Virginia to be playing in at night and for them to get the mojo back. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like the Wildcats are taking this one. I agree with y'all. Okay, on to our only game in the Big 12 this week in which the away team is favored. The Utah Utes travel to Houston. They are 3-point favorites in what Brownie called what did you call it?
The home field effect.
Logos Bowl.
Oh yeah, the Logo Bowl. Yeah, I did send you that.
Logo Bowl.
The Logo Bowl. They look the exact same.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah,
like
UU and UH, right?
Yeah, it was really funny because Iowa State pregame, the marching band always comes out with all of the flags of the Big 12 teams, and one of the younger children that stands behind me, and he's probably about 6 or 7, goes, "Hey, Dad, why are there 2 Houston flags out there?" And I was like, "There's not 2 Houston flags out there." And we all look and we're like, "Okay, yeah, those look eerily similar."
Yeah. Wow. This is all Houston needs. Another team that's trying to steal its identity, right? UCF with the whole space thing. Utah now with the logos. I mean, come on, can't a team catch a break? I feel like Utah wins this. I feel like Utah's defense is too good. I feel like Wilson, maybe with now a new offensive coordinator in the mix, their offensive coordinator just stepped down. Maybe there's a little bit of a spark there. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I mean, I'm surprised that Utah is only a 3-point favorite against Houston, considering how they played against KU. And I get it. They're on the road, so their favorability might be down a little bit. But I like the Utes. I mean, like you said, they just fought, their offensive coordinator just stepped down, not fired. So I mean, maybe something will change. I don't know. I like Utah, though. I just don't like how Houston played last week, and I think they're going to be a little bit defeated this weekend. And Utah's a very physical football team, so I expect the Utes to come out on top. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Give me Utah. I'll say 24-14.
Yeah.
That?
I had it's kind of weird for me because, I used to say at the very beginning, and I think my first appearance, that a 3-point favorite at home is basically just home field advantage. And I think that's really all that it is. I think that obviously they're saying that Houston and Utah right now are close to the same place for at least schedule-wise, I guess. I still think that Utah is the more athletic team. I think they're the more experienced team. I think that they're the more disciplined team. But after firing the OC, Isaac Wilson basically came out and he was like, the only reason why I chose Utah over other schools was because of this OC, but I'm going to stay and see where everything leads because I really like this program. Like, that interview to me just kind of seemed like he wants out and he wants to feel the water and see if there's something nice out there, but he doesn't necessarily want to burn the bridge, so to speak. And I just don't know if Whittingham has just lost the locker room or something, because in some of these games, it just feels like down the stretch, like Utah's just not in it. So I really think that Houston's going to jump back. I actually have Houston going and winning 27-24, covering the spread. But again, it could swing either way. It all just kind of depends on this new OC and the fresh blood, and if Isaac Wilson stops looking like a freshman.
Yeah, I think that, you hit it on the head. And there, Kansas is about to close this one out, it looks like. 2 minutes left in the game with a...
This better happen in real life.
Yeah, honestly.
I know. Me too.
Yeah. I need the buffer.
So let's talk our last game. Cincinnati at Colorado. This one's a little intriguing as well. Again, a tough trip for Cincinnati all the way out there, and Colorado's been playing very well, but Cincinnati's been playing well too, and I think that's why this is only a 5.5 point favor for Colorado. You know, I want to believe Cincinnati can win this game, but it's a very, very tough situation. What do y'all think? Is this all buffs to y'all?
I mean, considering that this game's played at night, yeah. I mean, if this game was played maybe in the afternoon or earlier in the day, then I think Cincinnati has a better chance. But I don't like the fact that this game is at night for the Bearcats. I'm going to roll with the Buffs. I really liked how they played last week, and they're starting to play well. So give me not Cincinnati. Give me Colorado 31-21. I think it'll be a close game at times. I think Cincinnati can keep it close for sure, but I just think with this game being at night and on the road for them, I like the Buffs.
Yeah, my score prediction was pretty close to yours. I had Colorado 31, Cincinnati 24. Shedeur Sanders, I guess, has gotten it figured out on how to manipulate their terrible offensive line to be able to pass the ball effectively. For me, it's going to be more of, can Shedeur survive the Cincinnati defensive line? Like, Cordelleone is amazing. They have a couple other defensive linemen that are in like that substitution mass sub formations that really do come off well, especially for pass rushing. I think it's going to be one in the trenches. But I would also like to put out the fraud alert on Travis Hunter, the Mr. I deserve the Heisman while not being able to finish an entire game the past 3 weeks. Like, brother, you can't finish an entire game. You don't deserve the Heisman. You're not even putting up that good of numbers on both sides of the ball. Like, what was it when he was like, oh, imagine if I caught as many catches as Genty has got carries. I was like, okay, but like, you also don't have contact for like 95% of your route. So, like, do we just get rid of that because Jenny gets hit within like 4 lines of scrimmage and then runs for another like 20 yards? I think somebody was
just
saying
stands
that
there like this before getting the ball.
Yeah. Like, it's wild to me. He's like super athletic, but he just stares there like menacingly. Like, somebody was sitting there with like the SpongeBob meme, you know, where he's just standing there menacingly, and it's just Genty just
I see you do it again.
Yeah. I was like, man, Genty alone is just a SpongeBob meme, like, at this point. But yeah, Travis Hunter saying that he deserves the Heisman over anybody is an actual laughable offense. And any Colorado buff that believes in that should just unfollow me from Twitter right now.
Hey, listen, the reason I want Genty to win, because I'm a lifelong LaDainian Tomlinson idolizer, and for God's sake, whenever you have a generational running back in a non-power team, give that kid the Heisman, okay? He deserves it. He deserves it. Give it to him.
That right there for you. Plant right there. That's an LT Hall of Fame helmet.
Ooh.
Oh, is that?
Old Navy. It sure is.
Oh, yeah.
That's
sick.
Look at
that.
Love that.
Love it. Well, this one just went final. Kansas won 21-9, and you know,
that happened in real life, man.
I was not going to make. Well, I guess I should cover Cincinnati first. I really feel like if this isn't like you said, Austin, if this isn't a 9:15 game at home in Colorado, I like Cincinnati a lot better in this game. But dadgummit, this is just a really bad situation for them to walk into. I feel like the Buffs win. But as for my pick for Kansas and Kansas State for the Sunflower Showdown, you know, I want to make this pick exclusively based on vibes. That's how I made it last year. The streak is going to end eventually, right? Eventually, the streak has to end. And I think this year, with the struggles that Kansas has had and the way the Big 12 has gone, it feels like there's no more perfect and no more hilarious time for the Kansas Jayhawks to come away with a victory in Manhattan, Kansas. Hey, I believe it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen, okay?